What is going on, Fight Camp? This is SJHSports. Welcome your faces back to a brand new video. We're going to be focusing on another striking tip, and mainly stationary strikes, and why this is so effective in game. Now, this was brought to my attention from a fellow YouTuber, Martial Minds, and it's something that I've tried to employ into my game myself, and I struggle. I'm in that awful habit of holding my left analog stick, going towards my opponent, wherever my opponent is on my screen, and my strikes aren't as efficient as or as fast as what they should be. If I'm stationary, what I mean by stationary is you don't push anything on your analog stick. You've got that distance right, you throw strikes without pushing anything on your left analog stick, you will guarantee to be a lot more quicker, a lot more fluid, and you will end up doing a lot more damage. That is one key thing that I have to stress to you. Literally have to stress, because if you don't master this, if you don't master this, then you're going to leave yourself vulnerable. Now, I've got to give a little mention to Free God, who is a fellow streamer. I'll remember to link his Twitch stream in the description, so I want you guys to go ahead and check him out. Very, very successful UFC fighter on this UFC. And I spent all morning, I've done another recording, but I've spent all morning in the practice mode just learning about how to strike my opponent, and there's a few combinations that Three God told me, and they're so simple. I will show you what they are, and they can be so effective in game. Now, the key thing to striking for me personally is not to gas yourself out. Like, don't go in for 3 or 4, 5, 6 punches in a row, one after another, because stamina is definitely a lot more important, a lot more key in this UFC than what it was in the last UFC. The chances of you finishing a guy in round 1 from just spamming away jabs and stuff is just going to be impossible. Yes, you may stun them, but you may not get the job done. And what you don't want to do is, at the end of round 1, your stamina is going to probably be around and about half, and then your opponent's stamina could be potentially full, and then you are at a disadvantage straight away. So the key is to do 2s and 3s combos. I try to stick to 2s, but sometimes I try and mix it up by throwing in a 3rd. It just makes things a little bit easier. Let's get on to the gameplay. I've learned a little combination. It's basic, and it's one that I like to use quite a bit, and it does help if you get this off to a T. So you're striking, as you can see, if I hold my right analog stick, my left analog stick to the right, you can see that the fighters will slightly move. Look at the back foot of Bisping. You can see how it's just shuffling around. I'm literally just holding right, and it's just shuffling around. That means that you are holding your left stick in. If I release it, you see how more composed, how more balanced it is, and how more sort of subtle and flexible it can be in the fight. Again, if I hold the right, you can see, look how it's moving. It's rigid, it's not relaxed or anything like that, and that does have a key effect on your striking. So I'm going to show you one that I like to do, and it's basically simple as anything. It's going to be a jab followed by a right uppercut to the head. Easy as you like. So if I do it, I'm going to do this by moving my analog stick right towards rock hold. So if I do that, oh, I missed it. Let me just work on that again. If we go forward and then jab. See how slow that is? Again, I'll show you. Jab. Oh, I missed it again. Jab followed by the uppercut. Very slow. If we're stationary, we've got the distance right. Jab followed by the jab followed by an uppercut. See how quickly it goes? I'll move back away so you can see it. Again, boom. That wasn't a great example, but you can see how quickly it compares to this. Like, look at that. Like, once you've got your jab away, that jab, when you're pushing forward, there is a little gap where your opponent can counter you. Well, not counter, but can actually do a bit of damage to you. The jab, oops. So you want to be going jab, uppercut, jab, uppercut. Yes, it does help if you import the button into your, if you import the combination into your control pad a little bit quicker than what you would normally, and just let that roll. Don't be going and then halfway through blocking, and so it doesn't actually do any damage. Like, what I mean like blocking is, so if you throw a combo, you see how he's feinting. Again, throwing a combo, you see how he feints when I just spam the buttons. You see, it's feinting. It's a difficult one to do actually when there's no pressure on me, but I tend to do that an awful lot. So what you want to be doing is basically going to your opponent and just keeping the distance between, and then just striking without the analog stick pushed in. It strikes out a lot quicker. You see, I'm just doing a straight, a jab followed by a straight. How quickly it is. Again, straight followed. It's just a lot quicker. Easy as you like. Again, we'll do that uppercut one, bang, oops, bang, bang. It's just so much quicker. And that's the thing to remember is stationary strikes. Try not to hold your analog stick in at all, your left analog stick. Just stay stationary. You can see how more subtle Bisping is, and you can throw anything that you like. Another thing that I like to do as well is, this is going to work perfect, is a lead leg kick followed by a straight after it. So to do the lead leg kick, you push A and then straight. So A, straight. It's not a great example. And one thing you do have to do is, if I put in this combination now, nothing happens. You actually miss your opponent, the combo won't actually work. So again, straight. Yes, my stamina is running low, so my strikes are going to be a little bit slower. That is a great one. Another one is jab followed by a body hook. Oops, I missed it. Jab, body hook. That in game is so effective as what you can be. And I can't seem to land the body hook. There we go. Again, jab, body hook. Quickly as you put it into your pad, the better and faster it goes, as long as you are stationary. They are just so little, the basic combos and basic strikes, but they don't half help. If you can master these off, I would suggest mastering the basic strikes first and combinations first. So they're two of the basic ones that I like to do. So it's a straight followed by an uppercut straight away. That was so effective. And then there is one which I like to do, is a jab followed by a body hook straight away. Body hook straight away. Piece of cake. Go into practice mode and learn those two combinations. That was what I would suggest so far. Oops, I'm going for the takedown. I actually mean to do that. And it's just a matter of moving. Another thing as well I'll bring you is a head movement video. And I've started to learn head movement a lot better than what I was. A hell of a lot better. I'll bring that tutorial a little further on, maybe in the week, maybe next week. Something that you guys want to see. So bear in mind, there's just a couple of things to bear in mind when you are going into a fight. If you are a striker, if you like to stand and bang with your opponent. And basically, it is stationary strikes. Do not push any direction on your left analog stick, and you can do the strikes a lot more quicker and a lot more effective. See, I held that my left analog stick in right, and you can see how quick it wasn't. There we go, we did it without it held in, and it's just that slight advantage. It's not much quicker, but it will help you massively in game. Again, I did it with holding forward, so again, I'll do it holding forward. Slow as anything, stationary, bang. Look how quick it is. Massive difference. Massive amounts of difference there. Easy as you like. We can also mix it up the other way as we've rocked him. So you're just about keeping your opponent guessing. Learn uppercuts and stuff. What I tend to do, I struggle. So if I wanted to do, say, a jab, uppercut, jab again, like that, but importing that into my pad quickly, I struggle with. I actually managed to do it this time. But I seem to struggle with it so much, especially when I'm close to my opponent. So I'll try it again here. See, it's not as effective. Oh, managed to rock, and we'll just back away for the time being. And another little tip as well for striking. You're on your feet. You can see how my opponent's moving around. If you're just using, we're obviously looking at Bisping here. They're moving around. If you hold LB or L1 on your pad, you move a lot more better and a lot more fluid. You can see it seems a lot more quicker. If I release it, look how Bisping changes. He's more bouncing. He's a little bit more lighter on his feet, but this one it's just so much better. Like, look how he's moving, his body movement and his legs are, and it makes it difficult. You can move left and right very, very quickly. Without it pushed in, it's just not as effective. This is one hard to see on the eye, but actually when you're in game, you will actually realise it, to be quite honest with you. I taught Frio got it last night, he didn't actually know about it, and it's just so much quicker to just weave in and out. And you're in that tricky situation. Let's say Rocco stunned us here, you can just hold that button in. Yes, you can't do it whilst your guard is up, so you just move back very, very slowly. And I'm holding that in now, and you're moving back very, very slowly. Again, it's the same if I release it. It's just a lot more quicker, and it just feels a lot more quicker to you in game, and it does work a treat. So one thing to remember, we'll wrap up this video, we'll go over the key points, is when you are striking, learn your combinations yourself for your fighter. Also, don't push any direction on your left stick. It's a habit that I was doing in UFC 2, because if I think I remember rightly, to throw a hook in UFC 2, you had to push the direction of where your fighter is. In this case, it would be right, followed by an X or a Y button together, and that would give you a kind of a hook, if I remember rightly. I could be wrong, and that's the habit. Excuse me, that's a habit that I have taken into UFC 3, and it's just not worked for me. My record's not great, but it's just something that we need to bear in mind. And hopefully this helps you. Stationary strikes when you stood still are 10 times better than when you are holding your analog stick in. So it's, again, just to confirm, look how, right, I'm holding my left stick in here, look how sort of I would say stiff and not relaxed Bisping is whilst I'm holding it. If I release the stick, you'll see, look, you see the differences there. He's a lot more moving, he's a lot more top heavy, he's a lot more relaxed, and it does certainly help in game. So that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. We'll talk about head movement in another episode very, very soon, because I'm starting to get slightly better at it, and it can get you out of tricky situations, and it does pay dividends. So thank you very much for watching, boys. If you have enjoyed this video, then you know what to do. Hit that like button, and I'll see you all on another video. Goodbye.